So let's talk about Acton Academy. It's this network of schools with no teachers, no homework, and get this, no grades. Which leads to a pretty big question, right? How on earth do kids actually learn the basics? Reading, writing, and math. Well, let's dive in and figure it out. Okay, start with this question because it is at the absolute heart of the Acton model. The adults in the room, they're called guides, and they have one simple rule. They don't give answers. Sounds completely crazy, I know. But that one rule is designed to flip the whole power dynamic of a classroom on its head. It forces the learners to be the ones driving their own education. So, why does something so radical? Well, it all comes down to this one core belief. Acton is built on the idea that kids aren't just empty buckets you pour information into. They're seen as powerful people, totally capable of figuring things out for themselves. The goal isn't to manage them, it's to, just get out of their way. To really get how Acton teaches anything, you have to understand the story they tell. Everything, and I mean everything, is framed as a hero's journey. Now, this isn't just some fun theme they stick on the walls. It's literally the operating system for the entire school. Think about it. Instead of school being a checklist of subjects you have to pass, it becomes an adventure. You are the hero of your own story. That tough math problem, that's not just homework. It's a dragon you have to slay. A disagreement with a friend? That's a conflict the hero needs to resolve. This narrative just completely changes the reason for showing up every day. And this right here, this maps out their long-term vision. It's a super clear, intentional path. The little, everyday challenges of learning core skills are tied directly to this much bigger goal of building your character and shaping your own destiny. It's all about who you are becoming, not just what you know. Okay, so we've got the big philosophy down. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does a hero actually learn, say, long division, or how to structure a sentence? Well, that all happens during a dedicated, multi-hour block every single morning called Core Skills. And you can see the huge difference right here. On the left, you've got the traditional classroom, where the teacher sets one pace for everybody. But on the right, at Acton, the learners are in the driver's seat. They decide what they're going to work on and for how long. And they only move on when they've truly mastered a concept, not just when the class is ready for the next chapter. Now, they're not just left to fend for themselves. They've got a whole suite of really world-class tools. For math, they're using adaptive software, like Khan Academy, which actually adjusts to their exact skill level. For reading, it starts with the pure freedom to read whatever they find interesting. And for writing, it's all about creating and getting constant feedback from their peers. It's about building a real foundation for communication. And the efficiency of this model? It's pretty striking. Because the learning is self-paced and it's adaptive, these learners can achieve incredible results in just a fraction of the time. Get this, just 18 minutes a day on Khan Academy can lead to mastering 3 times more material than you'd see in a typical school setting. This is the secret sauce for their literacy approach. You have to ignite a genuine love of reading. Once that fire's lit, even if it's with comic books or car magazines, it just naturally grows. Soon it's Harry Potter, and then it's on to much more complex books. The passion has to come first, and then the rigor just follows. And when it comes to writing, wow, the output is huge. We're talking over 100 finished pages a year. But it's not just about the quantity. Every single piece goes through these rounds of peer critique and revision. That builds the hero's resilience, for sure, but it also builds that tough muscle for clear, persuasive communication. Okay, so you're probably thinking, if there are no tests and no report cards, how does anyone, the learner, the parents, the guides, how do they actually know that progress is being made? It's a really important question. Seriously, this is probably the biggest hurdle for people to wrap their heads around. We are so used to measuring learning with A's, B's, and percentages. So what's the alternative? Well, Acton uses this 3-pronged approach that's all based on real-world evidence. So instead of a grade, you earn a badge. Instead of just a teacher's comments, you get feedback from everyone, from your peers. And instead of a final exam, you hold a public exhibition where you have to actually prove what you can do in front of a real audience. And a badge isn't just some sticker you put on a chart. It's basically a portfolio. So, to earn the 6th grade math badge, for example, you have to show all the work you did on Khan Academy that proves, without a doubt, that you've mastered those concepts. It's an undeniable record of your achievement. And the results, they speak for themselves. While standardized tests aren't the main focus, they do use them as a benchmark. And the data consistently shows that Acton learners progress, on average, 2.5 grade levels in just one 9-month school year. That freedom and responsibility, it seems to dramatically accelerate their learning. So, as we zoom out here, it becomes pretty clear that mastering these core skills, while it's absolutely crucial, is really just one part of a much, much bigger mission. Here's the most important point. Reading, writing, and math are seen as essential tools for the hero's journey. They're like the sword and the shield, but they are not the treasure itself. The treasure is something else entirely. And there it is. This is the real product of an Acton education. It's not about what you know when you graduate at 18. It's about building the character and the skills to be able to learn anything, do anything, and just be a thoughtful, contributing person for the rest of your life. It's about becoming a true lifelong learner. And that really leaves us with a final, pretty challenging question. The Acton model forces all of us to ask what we really want from education. Is the goal just to check a bunch of boxes and complete a curriculum someone else designed? Or is it something deeper, to equip young people with the one skill that truly matters above all else, the ability to learn for themselves for a lifetime? What do you think?